Welcome back to another session of software testing. Myself USHA, your online tutor for the course software testing. So today's session is going to be on the characteristics of testing. So at the end of this session, you'll come to know the characteristics of testing. So what are the various characteristics that define testing? So what is a software test? We all know, and we are going to now define the characteristics of software testing. So the first main characteristics of a software test process is the high probability of detecting errors. A software testing process should be able to identify all the errors that occurs in a software program, okay, a software application. Okay, so to detect these maximum number of errors, the tester should be able to understand the software thoroughly. So he should be knowing about the software thoroughly, and he has to find out the possible ways in which the software can fail. So what are the possible ways the software can fail? He should be able to know, and he has to test the software in that perspective. So he'll be able to find out or detect the maximum number of errors. So the first characteristics of a software testing process is that to find out the maximum number of errors. Okay, so all the errors in the program, in the application, should be found out by the software tester. That's the first characteristic. For example, if you take a program for dividing two numbers, so where can the program fail? If the number which is the divisor, if it happens to be 0, then there is a probability that, and there is a possibility that you'll get an error. Okay, when you divide a number by 0, you get an error. So the program can fail when you give input two numbers and you're going to divide the first number by the second number, and if the second number happens to be 0, then your program is going to fail. So this should be known by the tester. And how he has to perform his test? He has to run the application, he has to execute the application, he has to give two numbers, and he has to give the second number as 0 and find out how the system is responding to it, the application is responding to it. So this is how he is going to find out the errors, right? So this is the best example that could be set for detecting the errors. So this is the first characteristic. And the second characteristic is that you'll be doing n number of tests over the software, and no two tests should perform or validate the same criteria, right? So if I'm going to test a software by using one technique, the other technique should not be finding out the same errors. So that is a waste of time. So there should be no redundancy in doing the testing process. Okay, so normally testing time is very limited. Okay, software development process takes a lot of time, and the testing time and the resources for testing are very limited. So it is not beneficial to develop a test process which will be repeating the same technique. Okay, so every test should be unique in its purpose. So if one test is going to check for a bug, the other test has to check for another bug, not for the same bug. So that is how it goes. So this is called as no redundancy, and this happens to be the second characteristic of a software test. And the third one is choosing the most appropriate test. So what kind of test you are going to choose? We have seen a lot number of tests: black box, white box, functional, unit, integrated, and so on. So my software, what kind of testing is most appropriate for? So if I'm going to test a software, I'll have to first check what kind of test will most suit for that particular software. Okay, so there can be different tests and that have the same intention. So due to the limitations of time and resource, only few of them are used. So we have to first find out what is the test that I'm going to make use of for my software or for that particular software. So you're not supposed to use all the tests, because most of the tests are intended for the same purpose. So you're not going to repeat, you're not going to have any redundancy. So you're going to check what is the appropriate test that will best suit that particular application. So this is this third characteristics, which says choosing the most appropriate test. And the next one is you're going to choose a testing process that is going to be moderate, neither simple not complex. So a test is considered to be good if it is neither too simple nor too complex. So what you can do is you can combine many tests and you can form one test case. But this will increase the complexity, and increased complexity normally will not find out much errors. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to perform all the tests separately. So not simple, not complex, moderate level of testing has to be performed separately, and this is the next characteristics of your software testing. And with this we have completed this session. So we have discussed about the various characteristics of testing. So what are the various characteristics of testing? Let us have a quick recap. So the first one is to find out the probability of detecting more errors. It's the first one. And the second one is no redundancy in testing. So there should not be any redundancy in two tests. And the third one is to choose the most appropriate test, the test that will most suit that particular computer application. And then the last one says that your testing process should be moderate, neither simple nor too complex. So this is what we have discussed in this session. Thank you and have a nice day.